All right. Let's see whether this thing's working. Yes. My name's Mark. This is Aquarian Christianity. I went to the Polyglot gathering. It says blessed here. Blessed. I went to the Polyglot gathering and I had a blast. It's not perfect. We had a lot of clicks and it was kind of like high school because they were young. But it was fun. I got to speak Portuguese. I speak English. Probably I should say first. I got to speak English. I got to speak Portuguese. I got to speak Spanish. There were, except for English, there were groups for the other Portuguese and Spanish. The group for the other languages. I got to use sign language. There was no group for sign language. And I got to use Swahili. There was, I kept going to the Portuguese groups. There were no Swahili groups, which I wish there were. There were before. It was disappointing they didn't have that. But I found somebody that spoke Swahili. And I didn't go to the Spanish groups. I went to the Portuguese groups. And or we'd get together and only speak the foreign language. There was nothing for English because the conference wasn't English. But I spoke Swahili with somebody who spoke Swahili. I had a blast with that. It was just a blast speaking the languages, blast speaking Portuguese, a blast speaking Swahili with the one man I knew. His Swahili wasn't as good as mine. But he could still speak it. It was still a lot of fun, to speak it with someone in real life, not just on the computer. And spoke Portuguese, spoke Spanish with someone. There was a group for Spanish, but I didn't go to it because I didn't think my Spanish was very good. But I spoke Spanish with somebody a little bit. I wish I spoke more. I just said I'm not very good at this, or I'm not practiced at speaking Spanish, or I'm not. I know Spanish, but there are a lot of words I don't know in Spanish. Let's put it that way. A lot of basic words I don't know in Spanish. And then, so it was English. We spoke English throughout the whole time. Portuguese, I enjoyed doing that. Swahili with somebody else. Spanish with somebody else, and I got to use sign language. Sign language and Swahili were not on the schedule for the group for the conversation groups, but it was just a blast. There was someone who was inside of a building, inside of the auditorium at the hotel. It was in Terešin, Poland, and she was inside of the auditorium, and there was a glass door in between, or a glass door on the back side of the hotel, and somebody was knocking on the door, there was music going on inside the auditorium, and she was trying. And he was trying to say, can I come in through this way? And she was, I can't hear you. And he said, can I go through? Come through this door? Because he couldn't open it from the outside. And so I said, wait a minute, I'll see whether she speaks, or I'll see whether she sign language. So I was signing to her. And I said, can the door be opened? And she said, can't. So I turned around. I told him it can't be opened, and he went around to the front of the hotel. But that was a blast. I enjoyed that because that was a time where I had to use the language, not because it was a contrived situation. That was an actual situation where language was needed at the Polyglot gathering. And that was just great. And I introduced myself, and she introduced herself. And the guy went around to the front, I guess, to get in. The door was locked. We had like seminars. The seminars are okay. I didn't like seminars. I didn't go to many of them. They're at the same time as the meetings for the languages, and they had Finnish, which I don't speak Finnish. They had Finnish, they had Danish, they had Chinese, they had Japanese, they had Korean. It's just all these languages you would want. So they had Hindi. I think they had Urdu. It was just wonderful. And the best part of it was to speak the languages with the people, and to eat and just relax and enjoy the spring day. Because it started in June 1st. This was several years ago. About a year ago. It was 2022. But it was just fun meeting the people, and just a blast. But again, it's like high school. There are people that are very cliquey, people that are snobby, but there are a lot of people who just want to talk to you, and it's a great thing. I think it's worth the money. It ended up costing me, with everything included, including the plane ticket, it ended up costing me something like $2,000 in USD. Okay.